Welcome to all of you. My name is Joginder Tomar. I'm your friend and instructor. So today we will discuss about a very important and interesting topic. The topic name is VPC NAT Gateway. So let us understand VPC NAT Gateway with the help of scenario. So let's draw a diagram. So in this diagram we have one VPC and the VPC name is VPC test, and this VPC is located inside the Mumbai region. In this VPC we have two subnets. Subnet A and subnet B. In the subnet A we have some EC2 instances. In the subnet B also we have some EC2 instances. We are assuming the EC2 instances inside the subnet A are web servers, and we are assuming inside the subnet B all the EC2 instances are database servers. So if we will connect one of the component with the name Internet Gateway, so let's draw a diagram of Internet Gateway. In short, we are calling Internet Gateway as IGW. So Internet Gateway is a software component we are connecting with the subnet A. So Internet Gateway is linked or connected with the subnet A. Then all the web servers which are located inside the subnet A we can access from the internet. If anybody want to access these web servers which are located inside the subnet A from the internet, they can access. Let's say we have one local laptop or the desktop in the internet. So from this local PC or the desktop we can access these web servers remotely with the help of any one of the protocol. It can be RDP protocol or it can be SSH protocol. So RDP protocol basically we are using if the EC2 instances are from the Windows operating system, belongs to the Windows operating system. If the EC2 instances are from the Linux image, are created from the Linux image of operating system, then we can access remotely on our local computer with the help of SSH. So we can access these web servers or EC2 instances remotely with the help of RDP or SSH protocol, remote desktop protocol, because of the IGW. So from the internet or from the external world, these web servers EC2 instances can be accessible if the IGW is connected. If the internet gateway will not be connected with the subnet A, then web servers EC2 instances which are located inside the subnet A cannot access from the outside. And these web servers can also get internet access from the outside because of the internet gateway. But you can see the subnet A, along with the subnet A, internet gateway is not connected. So these database servers we cannot access from the outside. Let's say we have one laptop which is located in the external environment. So on this laptop, in this laptop, can we access these database servers or these EC2 instances which are located inside the subnet B? The answer is no. We cannot access these database servers from the internet because the internet gateway is not connected or associated with the subnet B. So this is an importance of the internet gateway. But sometime we require internet connection in the subnet B. What is the reason why we require the internet connection inside the subnet B? Because sometime we need to update the patches of the applications, like the antivirus applications or other application. Let's see, we have installed the antivirus applications inside all the database servers. So these antivirus applications or programs must be updated with the latest patches. Right? So in order to update the antivirus applications with the latest patches, then we require an internet connection inside the subnet B. But the situation is here that all these EC2 instances cannot access the internet connection because IGW is not associated with the subnet B. So that's why there is no internet here. So how we can run an internet connection on the subnet B, right? The solution is NAT gateway. So here in the subnet A, which is associated with the internet gateway, here we will add on one component. The component name is NAT gateway. So when we will connect or associate the NAT gateway component inside the subnet A, then through the NAT gateway these EC2 instances which are located inside the subnet B will start getting the internet access, right? So internet is coming through the internet gateway on the subnet A. Then from the subnet A, here we have a NAT gateway. Through the NAT gateway, the internet is passing to the subnet B. Now through the internet gateway, all the EC2 instances which are the database servers located inside the subnet B can get the internet access. But these EC2 instances or the database servers, they cannot still be accessible from the RDP connection or the SSH connection from the local laptop which are located in the internet, right? So these database servers can access the internet connection, so all the patches for the antivirus applications can be installed on the antivirus programs and the other programs which require the latest patches, but these database servers still cannot be accessible from the outside. So in NAT gateway will provide an internet connection to the EC2 instances of subnet B. So subnet B is connected with one component. That component will be called as a route table. So inside the route table, we have to do an entry of the NAT gateway. So we need to do the entry of the NAT gateway, so that's why, so it will provide a route to redirect towards the NAT gateway, and the NAT gateway will provide an internet connection to all the EC2 instances which are located inside the subnet B. So it should be very clear to all of you that through the NAT gateway, the internet can be accessible from the outside, but the outside to all these EC2 instances, but these EC2 instances cannot be accessible from the outside. So it means to say that in a very simple language, that income is of the internet is possible in the subnet B, but the outgoing of the internet cannot be possible from the subnet B. Means the internet is coming inside the subnet B, and all the EC2 instances located inside the subnet B are getting the internet connection, but these EC2 instances cannot be accessed from the internet or through our local laptop or the local desktop. So this is because of the security point of view. So if you will understand, can we access these servers, these database servers from this laptop, even though the NAT gateway is available here, and NAT gateway is providing the internet connection to all the EC2 instances in the subnet B, and all the EC2 instances in the subnet B are getting the internet connection through the NAT gateway. My question is that can we access these EC2 instances from this laptop? The answer is no, we cannot access. So here I am assuming here the network range is inside the VPC test is 10.0.0.0/16, and the subnet is here inside the subnet A 10.0.0.0/24, and in the subnet B the subnet range is here 10.0.1.0/24. For getting an internet access in the subnet B, we require to do an entry of the NAT gateway inside the route table of the subnet B. Whatever the route table which is associated with the subnet B, we need to enter the NAT gateway entry. So let us go to the portal and understand very much easily. So we are on the portal right now. First of all, in order to go to the portal, we need to go to the browser and type here www.aws.amazon.com. Click on sign in to the console option. So here we are in the sign in screen. So enter the email address, click on next, enter the password, click on sign in. So now we are inside the portal and we signed in successfully. So now you can see here we are inside the Mumbai region. So now what we need to do, we need to go to the services on the top. So here we will get an heading. So we will find a heading networking and content delivery. So inside the network and content delivery, we need to click on an option VPC. So VPC stands for Virtual Private Cloud. So we can see here VPC dashboard. So inside the VPC dashboard, we will get an option Your VPCs. So we need to click on option Your VPCs. So now we have to create one VPC. So click on Create VPC. Assign the name of the new VPC. I will assign here a name My VPC. So it doesn't mean that that if I am assigning here a name My VPC, you have to assign the same name. It doesn't like that. You can assign the different name also. So here IPv4 CIDR block I will assign here 10.0.0.0/16. Now click on create, close it. So my VPC has been created successfully. So now our next task is to create subnet. So for that purpose, under the VPC dashboard, we have to click on subnets option. So now click on create subnet. So inside the name tag, assign the subnet name. So I will assign here a name of the subnet with My subnet. So click on option VPC. So you can find My VPC is displaying here. Select My VPC. So this is the VPC just now we have created before. So this task will associate the VPC with the subnet. So now click on availability zone. Inside the availability zone, select your appropriate availability zone which you want to assign or wish, in which you will place your EC2 instance. So I will choose here AZ1. So what are availability zone? Availability zones are the data centers inside the particular region. So inside the Mumbai region, we have 3 data centers with the name AZ1, AZ2 and AZ3. But I have selected AZ1. So inside the IPv4 CIDR block 10.0.0/24. Now click on create. Now you can see the subnet has been created successfully and it is displaying a name my subnet. So now our next task is to create internet gateway. So click on internet gateway. So in this example I have given a name subnet A, but here inside the portal I have given a name my subnet. So let's give a similar name that I have given in this picture or diagram. So for that purpose let's delete this subnet. So choose the subnet, click on action and click on delete subnet option. Click on delete subnet. So the subnet has been deleted successfully. So it doesn't matter for me if I will go with the same name my subnet. So it will not affect the lab exercise, it will not affect the working of the lab, but I want to give the similarity of the lab exercise according to the diagram. So that's why I deleted. And one more thing you understood here, that how we can delete a subnet which we have created already. So it is good for you that you understood one more point, that how to delete a subnet. So now we will give a name subnet A. So for creating a new subnet with the name subnet A, click on create subnet. So assign the name subnet A. So click on VPC. Here we can find our own created VPC. Just now we had created before, so it is showing the name my VPC. So now click on my VPC. Now availability zone, click on availability zone and select the availability zone AZ1. So availability zones are the data centers. So inside the IPv4 CIDR block, enter 10.0.0.0/24. Click on create. So now you can see subnet A has been created successfully, which is already mentioned in this picture or diagram. So now you can see in this diagram we have one internet gateway, and this internet gateway is connected or associated with the subnet A. So now our next task is to create internet gateway. So let's go to the portal, and inside the under the VPC dashboard we will get an option internet gateways. So click on internet gateways and click on create internet gateway. Assign the name here IGW. Now click on create. So internet gateway has been created successfully with the name IGW, which we have already mentioned in the diagram here, IGW. So now what we need to do, so now it is showing the status of internet gateway as detached. Detached means it is not still associated with the VPC that we have created, or any VPC is not associated with this internet gateway. So now our next task is to associate internet gateway IGW with the VPC just now we have created before. So check mark this option IGW and click on actions, click on attach to VPC. So click on VPC. So you can find here my VPC, which is a VPC which we have created just now before. So select this my VPC. Now click on attach, and now you can see the status has been changed. Now the status is showing here attached. So this is a good sign and symptom that we are going in a right direction. So our next task is to create the route table. So here in this picture I have not mentioned the route table, but let me add on something in the subnet A. So here what I will do, I will create a component with the name route table. So route, the name of the route table I will give it here route A. So this is a very important component. So in this route table component I have to enter two entries. First entry I need to give it here 0.0.0.0/0. So this is the entry for internet gateway. And second entry we need to give it here the subnet entry. So subnet entry is here 10.0.0.0/16, or here the network range entry. So you can see here, so this is the entry. So this is very important. So let's do the same thing here. Go to the portal. So click on route tables, click on create route table, and inside the name tag assign the name of the route table. So as you can see in this diagram, the route table name is route A is mentioned here. So exactly the same name we can mention here, so it will sound good and it will help you to make the concept very easy to understand. So route A, you can assign any other name also, it doesn't matter, whatever the name you are assigning here. So I assign the name route A because I have chosen the name route A here in this diagram or pictures. So it will help you to understand the concept very easier. So that's why I randomly chosen the name route A, because the route A is mentioned here. So that's why exactly the same name I wanted to assign here. So now click on VPC, click on my VPC. So this route A will be associated with the my VPC. Now click on create. So route table has been created successfully. So choose the route A by selecting the check mark option. Now our next task we will perform to associate the subnet with the route A. So click on subnet associations, added subnet associations, and here you can see subnet A, which we have just now before created, and it is showing 10.0.0/24. So check mark the option, click on save. So this route A has been associated successfully with the subnet A. So another task we will perform to assign the internet connection with the subnet to the subnet A, or the, so for that purpose click on routes, click on edit routes, and here you can see the destination is mentioned here 10.0.0.0/16. Local, target is local, and status is active. Now click on add route, and now this is a step we are going to perform for adding the internet gateway with this subnet A. As you can see in this picture, subnet A is here, and along with the subnet A the internet gateway IGW has been connected or associated. So this is the task we are going to perform here. So for that purpose type here 0.0.0.0/0, and target, inside the target we need to select internet gateway, IGW. Now click on save routes, close it. So guys, you noticed already that whatever the tasks we have performed, we performed for the subnet A, which is associated with the subnet A, but we have not still created the subnet B. So now we will perform the task to create the subnet B. So let's go to the portal and we will create subnet B. So click on subnets, and the subnets is located inside the VPC dashboard. Click on create subnet. So as the name mentioned here, subnet B, exactly the same name we will assign here. And click on the VPC. So you can see the VPC with the name my VPC, which we have created just now before. It is displaying. Select this name. Availability zone, I will select AZ1, and here IP version 4 CIDR block, I will type 10.0.1.0/24. as you can see in this picture, 10.0.1.0/24, exactly the same subnet range I have assigned inside the portal while creating the subnet B. So exactly we are going as per the planning, as per the right direction. Now click on create. So now we have created subnet B also successfully. So our next task is to create the route table for the subnet B. So click on route tables, and route tables also located inside the VPC dashboard. So here click on route table, so here we will mention the name of the route table here, route B, and associate this route table with the VPC. So here we can see the name is displaying here my VPC. So click on my VPC, click on create. So with this step, route table B has been successfully associated with our own created VPC, which is my VPC. So now we need to associate the subnet B with the route table B. So select route B and click on subnet associations. Click on edit subnet associations, and you can see here we have two subnets. So we need to choose this time here subnet B. Click on save. Now the subnet B has been successfully associated with the route table B. So guys, route B stands for route table B and route A stands for route table A. So route table A belongs to the subnet A and route B belongs to the subnet B. So now click on routes, click on edit routes, and you can see here is only one entry with the name 10.0.0.0/16, and it is showing active. So we will not do any changes here right now, we will do any changes in future. So click on subnet association. I wanted to show you once more added subnet associations. So what is the IP4C IDR in the case of the subnet B? That is 10.0.1.0, but for the subnet A 10.0.0.0/24. So this is the difference. So CIDR for the subnet B is different than the CIDR of subnet A, because in the third octet, which is 10.0.1, 1 is the third octet. In the third octet here is 1, and in the case of the subnet A, in the third octet there is 0. So this is the difference. So both are different than each other. Now click on cancel. Just my purpose or my intention to show you the difference only here. So now what we will do, we will create two EC2 instances. So as you can see in this picture, so we have created one EC2 instance inside the subnet B, and was one EC2 instance which is web server we have to create inside the subnet A. So here one EC2 instance we need to create inside the subnet B, one EC2 instance we need to create inside the subnet A. So let's move on to the portal and we will create two EC2 instances inside the subnet A and the subnet B. So now go to the portal. Now click on the services. Inside the services we will get EC2. So select an option EC2 under the compute, because right now our purpose is to create two EC2 instances. One EC2 instance we will place inside the subnet A and second EC2 instance we will place inside the subnet B. So here right now you can see clearly running instances right now 0, because we have not yet created any EC2 instance. So click on running instances, click on launch instance. Now select image of the operating system which we will use for creating the EC2 instance for the testing purpose. So here we will choose Microsoft Windows Server 2016 base. Click on select. Now it will show you the step number 2. Step number 2 will indicate that what are the software components. What are the software components like one virtual CPU, 1 gigs of memory, 1 EBS storage. So these are the virtual components are using for the creation of the EC2 instance that we are going to create right now. So click on next. Under the network, click on my VPC. So my VPC is a network or VPC just now we had created before, and click on subnet and it will show you the availability zone. So go with the AZ1A. So auto assign public IP. So select here enable. You can see here subnet A, and in this picture you can see subnet A. Inside the subnet A we want internet connection. Right? So internet connection is required. So that's why in this portal auto assign public IP we are doing enable, right? If you will not enable this auto assign public IP, then we cannot get public IP to get access the EC2 instance remotely from the internet. So it is must. So by default auto assign public IP is disabled for all the EC2 instances which is created by ourselves. So now click on next. So no need to modify any changes in the step number 4, which is add storage. Now click on next. So under the step number 5, click on add tag, and under the key type name. Under the value assign the name of EC2 instance which you wish to assign. So I will assign here the name EC2 subnet A. So click on next, click on add rule. Under the type select one more rule, all ICMP-IPv4. So under the source click on anywhere for both of the rules, RDP and ICMP. Now click on review and launch. So the step number 7 will display you whatever the steps you have already performed in the wizard before previously. So you can monitor, you can see what are the steps you already performed. If you want to modify and you have a doubt with any one of the steps that you have performed and you want to edit, then you can click on previous and you can change it. Then after the change you can come again to this point, step number 7. But I have no need to modify anything, so I am okay with the steps. Now click on launch. So here we need to create a key pair. With the help of the key pair, we will access the EC2 instance remotely through the internet. So here you can create a new key pair, or you can choose an existing key pair if you have already created the key pair before. So I have already created the key pair before, so I will choose the first option, choose an existing key pair. So here select a key pair. I will select here web server key. So I have created a key pair with the name web server key.pem. So remember, whatever the key pair you will create will get an extension .pem. So I will click check mark an option, I acknowledge. Now click on launch instances. Now click on view instances. Similarly, we will perform the task for the creation of the EC2 instance for the subnet B also. So let's create EC2 instance for the subnet B. So click on launch instance, select the image of the operating system through which we will create EC2 instance for subnet B. So choose Microsoft Windows Server 2016 base. So no need to change with the software components here. So we are agree with this one. Now click on next. So under the network, click on my VPC, because we have created our VPC with the name my VPC. So subnet, so AP-South 1A availability zone. So this is an availability zone, go with the same. So here auto assign public IP. So we have no need to change anything here, because we don't want that anybody will access our EC2 instance from the outside, right? So if you disable this auto assign public IP, then this EC2 instance will not be assigned with the public IP. So click on next. So before clicking on next, I want to tell you one more thing. Only the public IP through which we can access the EC2 instances from the internet through the RDP console or through the SSH PuTTY. If we disable the auto assign public IP, then public IP we will not get for the EC2 instance which we will create inside the subnet B. Now click on next. So we have no need to modify any change inside the subnet 4. Now click on next again. Click on add tag. So under the key type name. So this is a wizard step number 5. Here we need to assign the name of the EC2 instance. So I will assign the name here EC2 subnet B. So it will suitable with the name, so EC2-subnet B. So now I will click on next, click on add rule, and here choose a rule, choose a protocol all ICMP-IPv4. So now under the source, click on anywhere for both of them. Now click on review and launch. So now step number 7 is it's showing you, so this step is showing you that whatever the steps you already performed in the previous wizard screens. So if you want to modify, if you have a doubt with any one of the step, you can go previous and you can change it, and you can come back again on the step number 7. So but I have no need to modify anything, I am okay with that. Now click on launch. So here I will choose an existing key pair. So the key pair I will select web server key, check mark an option, I acknowledge. Now click on launch instances. Click on view instances. So now you can see the EC2-subnet B deployment process is in the pending state, right? So it will take some moment, and on the another hand you can see EC2-subnet A means the EC2 instance which is located in the subnet A has been deployed and completed successfully, and the status it is showing running, and the instance state is it is showing running, and status check it is showing 2x2 checks green. So now let us take the RDP connection for EC2 instance subnet A. So you can see here we will get a public IP. We got a public IP with the 52.66.214.6. just copy this public IP address. Because of the public IP address, with the help of public IP address we can get remote access of the EC2 instance on our local computer. So go to run in our local computer and type mstsc, click on OK. So it will show you remote desktop connection console. So here press Ctrl+V shortcut keys and it will paste your public IP address just now you have copied before. Now click on connect. Now it is asking to enter the credentials. So first of all we need to enter the username, and the username we need to enter here administrator, and the password it is asking, but the password we don't know. So how to get a password? So in order to get a password we require the key pair. So for that purpose click on connect, click on get password, click on choose file. So here browse the location in which key pair is saved or located. So double click on AWS keys. So this is the location in which I have copied and pasted the key pair. So here select web server key.pem, click on open. Now click on decrypt password. Now you can see here the password has been decrypted successfully or generated successfully. Now copy this password, go to the console again, paste here the password that you have copied before. Now click on OK, click on yes. Now go to run and let us check what is the IP address of this PC or this EC2 instance. For that purpose, type a command in the DOS ipconfig. So you can see here the IP address, IP version 4, which is 10.0.0.104. So this is a private IP address, but we got access of this EC2 instance with the help of the public IP address, which is showing on the top, 52.66.214.6. you can see on the top. Now let us see that what is the status of EC2 instance which is located inside the subnet B. So you can see here EC2-subnet B has been created successfully, and the status 2x2 checks has been green, and it is a good symptom that we can now the machine is ready. Now the EC2 instance which is located inside the subnet B is ready to use. So now we are inside the EC2 instance which is located inside the subnet A. So let us see, do we have public IP address associated with the EC2-subnet B or not? You can see there is no public IP address, right? And here we can see only private IP address is assigned, which is with the 10.0.0.211. so this is the private IP address. Guys, you can see here 10.0.0.211 here, and it is showing subnet A. So there is a mistake we have done. Instead of choosing the subnet B, we have chosen the subnet A during the creation of the EC2 instance EC2 instance for subnet B. So we will correct it. Let's delete this EC2 instance. So for deleting this EC2 instance, click on instance state, terminate, yes, terminate. So now this EC2-subnet B will be delete or terminate. So now we will create a new EC2 instance for the subnet B. So for that purpose, let's go to launch instance, choose an image of the operating system, which I will choose here, Microsoft Windows Server 2016 base, select, click on next, and here select my VPC, and here select subnet B. So last time I did a mistake. Instead of choosing the subnet B, I chosen subnet A. So select subnet B. So here leave it as disable auto assign public IP, because this EC2 instance should not be accessible from the internet. So with the help of this step, this EC2 instance will not get public IP address. Now click on next, next again, and click on add. So here type name and the value. I will type here private, otherwise subnet B EC2. So this is the name I will assign this time. Now click on next, add rule, select all ICMP IPv4. So under the source, click on anywhere, click on review and launch, choose an existing key pair. I will choose existing key pair with the web server key. I acknowledge, check marks. So check mark the option, I acknowledge. Now click on launch instances. So everything is fine. Now click on view instances. So guys, you can see that EC2-subnet B, which was created by mistake, and this EC2 instance we associated in the subnet A instead of the subnet B. so it is terminated successfully. So that's why the status it is showing terminated. And now this is the new EC2 instance we are creating, and it is in the process. So instance state is now changed as running, so we are waiting for the check status checks 2 by 2. So if it will be green tick, then this EC2 instance will be ready to use. And you can see here the private IP address has been assigned, that is 10.0.1.69. so you can see on the picture 10.0.1. so you can see the 3 octets are same, 10.0.1, 10.0.1. so let it be complete. Till that time, let's wait for a moment. Now we can see here the EC2 instance which is located inside the subnet B with the name subnet B-EC2 has been deployed successfully, and status has been changed as a 2 by 2 checks. It is a green tick. So this is a good system and it is ready to use and access. So now here you can see the public IP address. Public IP version 4 address is not available for the subnet B EC2 instance. So this subnet B EC2 instance cannot be accessible from our local computer, or through the RDP we cannot access it, right? So this is the purpose that I told you, that why the internet gateway IGW is not connected with the subnet B. So if the internet gateway is not connected with the subnet B, and we did not enable the auto public IP, then the public IP address will not be available for the EC2 instances which are located in the subnet B, right? So now let's go to the portal. We already took the RDP connection of the EC2 instance which is located inside the subnet A. So let us check and see whether we can access the internet connection here or not. So type ping google.com-t. Yes, so internet is working inside the EC2 instance located inside the subnet A. So internet is working here. So now what we need to do, we need to take a RDP connection of the EC2 instance located inside the subnet B, right? So subnet B EC2 instance, we cannot take the direct RDP connection from the public network or the internet, because we don't have the public IP address. So there is no public IP address, so that's why we cannot take the RDP console or the RDP connection for accessing the subnet B EC2 instance, right? But the subnet B EC2 instance RDP connection we can take inside the subnet A EC2 instance, because here we can see 10.0.1.69, we have the private IP address here, and inside the subnet A also we have a private IP address which is 10.0.0.104, right? So let us check and try to get an RDP connection for the subnet B EC2 instance. Go to run and type msdsc, and let's copy the private IP address of the subnet B EC2 instance from here and paste the private IP address. Click on connect. Now it is asking to enter the username and the password. So enter the username here, administrator, but the password we don't know the password. So in order to generate the password or decrypt the password, we require key pair. So we already selected subnet B-EC2, which is a EC2 instance located inside the subnet B. Now click on connect, click on get password, click on decrypt. So just copy the password. The password has been copied successfully. Now paste the password, click on OK. Wow, so this is a good symptom. So now click on yes. Now we are getting login inside the subnet B-EC2 instance, and from the subnet A-EC2 instance we got a RDP connection of the subnet B-EC2 instance. Now let's go to run, type cmd, and type ipconfig. So you can see here the private IP address of the subnet B-EC2 instance is displaying here 10.0.1.69. I hope so you understood, and you are understanding very clearly each and every step what I am going to perform in front of you. So now what we need to do, we need to check whether this EC2 instance which is located inside the subnet B is able to get access of the internet connection or not. For testing purpose, type here ping google.com-t. So it is displaying a message request timeout. It means the internet is not working inside the EC2 instance located inside the subnet B. So this EC2 instance is not getting an internet connection, and here you can see only we have private IP address 10.0.1.69, but there is no public IP address because we disabled auto public IP, and internet gateway is also not associated with the subnet B. Now what we need to do, we need an internet connection, because this EC2 instance may have some application and some programs which require the automatic updates of the patches from the internet. So how all the applications like the antivirus applications will get a automatic updates of the patches from the internet, but the internet is not working. There is a problem. For getting an internet connection, there is a solution, NAT gateway. So we need to configure and enable the NAT gateway. So let's go to the portal, and here under the VPC dashboard we will get an option NAT gateways. So click on NAT gateways and click on create NAT gateway. So here select the subnet in which you will place NAT gateway. Remember guys that NAT gateway we can place only on the public subnet, right? We can only place the NAT gateway in which internet gateway is associated. We cannot place or we cannot connect the NAT gateway component with that subnet with which the internet gateway is not associated or connected. So here subnet A is a subnet along with the internet gateway is associated. So with the subnet A, internet gateway is associated or connected. So that's why we need to select subnet A. We cannot choose subnet B, because along with the subnet B, the internet gateway is not associated and the internet is not coming inside the subnet B, right? So we have to choose only that subnet in which internet is in which the internet is working and the internet gateway is connected. So choose subnet A, and here we need to enter the elastic IP. Elastic IP is a static IP. Elastic IP is a static IP, but we have not yet created any elastic IP. So we can create here itself, no problem. Click on My VPC. Click here, right? And here it is not showing any elastic IP. Now click on Allocate Elastic IP Address. So now you can see here the elastic IP has been generated and allocated. Now click on Create a NAT Gateway. So you can see a message on the screen, your NAT gateway has been created. So this is good. Now click on Close. So for changing the status of the NAT gateway from the pending to active, it will take some moments. So till that time we can do one thing. So inside this NAT gateway is in process of the creation. Now go to the route table of the subnet B. You can see in this picture we have a route table, and this route table is associated with the subnet B, and here we need to do an entry of the NAT gateway. So we are performing the same thing now here in this step. So here click on route tables, and you can see both of the route tables are available for us, route A and route B. So route B is a route table which belongs to the subnet B. So select route B, and here click on routes, click on edit routes, click on add route. So here enter the destination, which is, enter here under the destination 0.0.0.0/0, and under the target, now this time select NAT gateway. So here you can see the ID of the NAT gateway. So select this ID. Now click on Save Routes. Now click on Close, and let us check what is the status of the elastic IP and what is the status of NAT gateway. So now the status is available. Before it was showing pending. So now let's go to the EC2 instance and let us verify whether the EC2 instance is able to access the internet connection or not. Wow, wonderful. So this EC2 instance, which is located inside the subnet B, is now able to access the internet connection via NAT gateway. So what is the IP address here? 10.0.1.69. So our lab exercise has been completed successfully. I hope so. The today's lab or session was very informative to all of you. Thanks for watching my video. If you want my new latest upcoming videos in future, then don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel. Click on like icon and share it, and press the bell icon also. Thank you once again.